Well, thank you very much, and we are coming to you from Entebbe International Airport here at the VIP lounge, where of course we know that the national carrier Uganda Airlines has finally secured the air operating license, given the fact that civil aviation has been working around the clock to see that the two of the Airbus A330neo that were brought into the country have also taken to the skies. But as this happens, what does it mean for the industry, Uganda, a young country that is reviving its airline? And to discuss more of this, I am joined by the acting Chief Executive Officer of Uganda Airlines, Madam Jennifer Bamutraki. Welcome with me on NTV.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations upon your certificate.
Thank you.
But what does this certificate mean for a young country, a country that is reviving its airline? What does the certificate mean?
First of all, we have to realize that it's been a long process, but a process that opens us up to the world. Having the Airbus, first of all, opens up the country. The routes that we are planning, there's trade involved, there's tourism involved. For the nation, it opens us up in terms of trade and tourism. When you look at the routes that we are planning to operate with this airline, with this aircraft, there will be a lot of inter-travel, inter-movement between the two countries. Then we will link the different routes that we fly with the Sierra J onto the Airbus. So it opens us up first as a hub. Entebbe becomes a hub because then we do interconnecting within Entebbe from these routes into the other routes where the Sierra J flies. So it's a great thing because as a nation, we become a nation that is moving according to the manifesto of the...
Well, we know that you've already been having these operating license for the small aircrafts that we've been having, but why did it have to take long for you to secure the certificates for the bigger ones?
That's funny. I knew that would come up. The Sierra J and the Airbus are two different aircraft. We already have an air operator's license, but the issue was including the Airbus on that,
on the small ones,
on that air operator's certificate.
Okay.
Now that's a totally different ballgame. Because they are two different aircraft, that means even the equipment, the maintenance organization, the trainings are totally different. So that process had to be put in place. It still goes through a 5-phase certification process. So it's not that, oh, because you have an AOC with Sierra J, you'll now start at 3rd phase or 4th phase. So we had to go through the beginning with the Airbus as well. So that took quite a while because even the trainings had to be done differently. The team, you can't use the same pilots on the Sierra J with the same pilots. They can't now mix. Once they move from the Sierra J to the Airbus, they have to remain on the Airbus. So they have to be certified, they have to be trained on that. So it was a process.
Well, we know as we speak this, the most interesting question, something that people want to understand is, when are the Airbuses taken to the skies, the first flight?
Oh, as a matter of fact, our first flight will be tomorrow to Bujumbura, and then we'll also fly, well, what we've done, they're supposed to fly long haul, but because we still have these red lists on land with the United Kingdom and United Emirates, we don't want to have them just seated. So two things that we're doing. One, on the regional route, we've selected particular routes where the aircraft can fly. Like I said, we're starting with Bujumbura, then Nairobi the next day. Then it will be going to Johannesburg. Then we will also do Dar es Salaam and Juba on one of the days, up to the 29th, between tomorrow and the 29th.
Well, we know that as you are going into this, it's a big achievement that you want to make, but then you should put at the back of your mind that you're going to compete with more other competitive airlines. We have Ethiopia, Qatar, among others. Why do you think someone should leave those and choose Uganda Airlines?
Well, we don't fly through intermediary points. We fly direct. The other airlines leave Entebbe to intermediary points. So that means passengers go via. We are not doing that as Uganda Airlines. We're going direct. So we'll bring people from one point into Entebbe and take them direct. So that already is a plus for us. Then the type of aircraft that we're using is unique. It's efficient. It gives a different experience to the passenger and to the customer rather. It has the features that enhance the journey of the customer. So that alone will make everyone want to fly Uganda Airlines and not another.
Last time we had a lot of criticisms coming in, especially when social media took it over, that one of your CGRs ran short of fuel in Tanzania. Did that in any way affect the business?
I'm going to approach that question on 2 points. The first one is, as an airline, I wouldn't want to say it affected us. Why? Because it can never happen. So those who are privy to how airlines operate knew that, no, that cannot happen, because you leave Entebbe with enough fuel to land to point B. At point B, there's more fuel, which takes you back to point A, where you came from. So the issue was not the airline. The issue was the supplier not having enough fuel, or to have any fuel at all, at his point B. Whether it affected our business, no. It will affect if someone is approaching it I don't want, without being rude, at a point of not knowing. I don't want to say ignorant, but a point of not knowing how airlines operate. There are those who said, oh, I won't fly.
There was lack of information.
Absolutely. There's a lot of, now that's the second part I want to address. Because as a country, we've not had an airline operating out of this base for a while, there's a lack of information on how airlines operate. So there's a lot of hearsay and a lot of this happened and that happened that people are fed. And this is what I would like to inform all the people who have taken time to report about airlines. You need to research, understand how airlines operate. So yes, there was a lack of information. One, from the people reporting it, and two, no one bothered to ask the airline what could have happened. So there was this information running around without the airline.
People had it in their mind that you became you became third party because you responded after the information had gone so viral. Did you not notice in the start that perhaps the wrong information was going to have a negative impact on the airline?
No, because we did not think that there was that level of ignorance out there. Because it was not the first time that we were landing in an airport and there was no fuel. Nobody didn't realize that this was like the second time in Dar es Salaam.
But I'm tracking, when you're talking about that, we're now talking about information that
yes.
got into the travelers' minds.
No, but you realize it was not travelers.
A national carrier was running out of fuel.
No, that cannot happen.
However much the information was wrong.
Yes.
But I wanted to perceive it in the context of understanding a traveler, that the information getting to my mind is if I bought a national carrier from Uganda, perhaps somewhere we may run out of fuel.
No, but you need to look at it this way. The passengers you're talking about are so knowledgeable that they themselves were calling and saying, but this cannot happen. Somebody help this newspaper organization and sort them out. The passengers themselves, they knew, because in Nairobi, in Dar es Salaam, we have a delay management process. When we realized there was no fuel in the airport, the passengers were informed. We have a delay, there's a lack of fuel in the airport, and this is how long the delay will take, as the teams on ground were running to make sure we got this sorted out. By the way, that supplier was never able to arrive before, so we had to find other means of getting fuel to leave. And I'll tell you another thing. Our neighbors in Kenya, Tanzania were laughing and saying, look at these Ugandans. Can this ever happen? So it was now my duty to find pressmen and tell them, guys, research, understand how airlines operate before you go out talking, because you're looking silly out there. You know, everyone's saying Ugandans don't have airlines. What do they know? I didn't like that, because I'm on forums in Kenya and Tanzania, and I was seeing the comments, because people were saying, that cannot happen. So that's what I'm saying to you, sir. It can never happen.
Well, for time purposes,
yes.
we'll leave it there, but we thank you very much
yes.
for having made time to speak to us.
Thank you too.
We congratulate you upon receiving your certificate.
Thank
we
you.
also wish well the airline as NTV.
Thank
we
you.
Hope you prosper. And thank you
Yes.
for really speaking to us.
Thank you too.
Well, Jennifer Bamutraki is the acting Chief Executive Officer for Uganda Airlines, just making us understand about how the airline is prepared, of course, given the fact that the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority has officially handed over a certificate for them to fly to the skies, and the first flight will be Bujumbura. We hope that all goes well and as far as how they prepared for it. And now from me here at Entebbe International Airport, we hand over back to the studio for the rest of the programming.